it should like it. I'm definitely starting to think about. This is so weird. Oh, can you hear me now? Hopefully. Hopefully this is working now. Okay, let's recap everything that I was saying. That's better. Yes, you can hear me now. I'm glad I checked my audio. Fun, welcome back. Hi, I'm izlogic.business. I'm the guy that's here to talk about League of Legends. Today we're going over Vitality and SK. Now, technically speaking, these two teams are in a close battle for the same spot. SK sitting 4-2, Vitality 3-3. Vitality have kind of gone on a rise, considering last weekend they went 3-0 against some of the more difficult opponents. Today, they're going up against SK 4-2, who sat at top of the league at the end of last week. Well, at the start of last week. So, let's get into, essentially, the draft that we've seen so far. Cassante, Jax, Rumble. 3 massive target bans towards that top lane. Kind of expected when you have Irrelevant in the match. As for Vitality, they kind of can sack top lane, probably go for a more weak side-esque picks. G2, what G2? I'm thinking of the G2 matchup. Vitality, realistically, didn't need to play through top too much, as they had Broken Blade subdued already. The rest of the draft so far, jungle engage with Rel gone. ADCs are plenty also gone with the Senna and Kalista. So you are going slightly down the totem pole of picks available for that role. The lock-in of the Maokai, to me, is kind of nice. You are getting yourself some guaranteed lockdown. And that is kind of a thing that is lacking when you look at team drafts so far this year. Anyway, Nami Lucian, I'm not a big fan of at current meta. It is a pick, or a couple of picks, that realistically haven't found too much success this year. In fact, I believe it's one of them 0 win rate picks that teams have gone towards. Let me get comfy. There we go. So, on the other side, I'm not a fan of the Emilio either. It's kind of nice into Maokai because you are negating some of the engage that he provides with your cleansing ultimate. Vi going in, you can lock down that Lucian quite easily. The cease and desist, kind of nice. But when you lock in Emilio, you kind of are signifying Aphelios coming through for yourself. So, fairly obvious that Vitality was going for that in the end of its first phase. Picks so far coming into, well, bans coming into second phase. Cagliari, Azir, mid lane has been banned out. And you look at the mid lane matchup, Niski Vitio, former MVP in Vitio, taking on standout mid laner Niski. It is a pretty nice battle there, so we will probably see maybe an interesting thing here. Corki open, Nico open, Corki getting slammed down by Vitality, kind of nice to see. What's the response for SK? What is Niski feeling here? I mean, there is quite a few different options for him. The Ziggs being hovered makes me think they're not going for it in this phase. And what do you know? They instead go for a nice, juicy Renekton in the top lane. Slam irrelevant, one of his most comfortable picks he's ever had in the LCS. LEC. So, that comes through. Next up, the Orianna for Niski. He's actually got some good options there. Maokai going forward, Twisted Advance, Renekton going forward. There's some good people to carry the ball in for a big shockwave, because, let's be honest, if you can get onto the Aphelios, Corki, and Emilio through this very not tanky frontline for Vitality, it's more of a protective sort of setup for themselves. I certainly think that SK can do a pretty good job here. But hey, let's get ready. We're going into game. I'm hyped up. Hopefully my PC survives this one. But yeah, we'll go down here. As we get into game, we need to kind of outline our expectations. Where will these junglers go early? And it's already, to me, looking like we're going to be seeing Vitality head towards that bot lane. Because you've got a Vi there to shut down any form of aggression the solution Nami wants to go for. Plus, level 6 comes through, you can lock down one of them. The Nami has got all the CC, so if you gank her before she gets her tidal wave, you're definitely going to be very effective when it comes to late game team fighting. But onto the rift we go. SK on blue, Vitality on the red side. And yeah, massive step up from VTO in week 2. Certainly has lit Vitality ablaze. It's some pretty good stats. The gold difference at 14 being a positive is a great thing to see. And this game, that positive gold Gonna be pretty easy to get with first strike already getting him. A nice bit of... Oh no, wait, they've changed it. Never mind. He's running Comet. It said first strike a second ago. It is actually... No, he is! He's running first strike. That graphic was wrong. Weird. Anyway, more gold going into the back pockets of VTO. Kazi rocking that lethal tempo. Nothing else I'm noticing is very different. First strike Maokai, I would say, is a little surprising. Glacial Augment, Aftershock, kind of what I would have expected coming out from Isma's build, but he's looking to get the AP damage down, which to me is surprising, as he and Douglas just holding the minions, not even clearing raptors. Slow start overall, and gonna be honest, the early game trade will always favor Isma. Yes, the Vi can stack up her E's and get the shielding, but the passive healing that Maokai does, and also the AoE clear, being a lot more favorable based on max health damage, it's always going to be a winning trade for this Maokai. And so Vi forced to back away. It was okay, I guess, to delay the trade, because on Vitality's side of things, they are looking to scale with the Corki, so denying the jungle clear a little bit longer is okay. So if the Maokai isn't making plays into lanes, you're kind of doing your job here. If you're Isma, and well, if you're Douglas, so that's kind of good. And that's kind of the interesting thing, because we can talk about Douglas now. He has been the aggressive jungle guy in the league. He's certainly been getting aggressive, getting early ganks off for his team, as VTO almost succumbed to a solo bolo from Niski, who was just pressing the tempo in mid-wave. Tried to get a little cheeky back off there as the minion wave is pushing towards Niski. He'll probably freeze the wave, or no, he's going to let it crash so he can get the wave pushing away from him. That way he's able to get a reset off, get then the wave pushed back, because as soon as it crashes into VTO's tower, it's going to come back to him. You already know that. But yeah, technically speaking, this is a favorable thing for VTO, because he's able to expend his TP to get back to lane. And while he has burnt his flash, he's certainly not an easy champion to get on top of, with the fact that he will have the Valkyrie to just slide away. And he's able to keep distance, maintain the pressure. It's a good overall pick for his team. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the start so far, fairly standard, and nothing out the ordinary just yet. Obviously, Niski getting a flash burn against his lane opponent is the most substantial thing we've seen. Douglas getting a few camps stolen away as well is pretty good as well, I'd say. So, as a whole, SK controlling this early game a little bit nicer than what other teams would expect. Now, bot side, this has kind of been the constant story. Lucian Nami having constant wave pressure, pushing it in, keeping the Vitality bot lane under their tower as Milio denies the back of DOS. And this could be a bit of a situation as... Never mind. Back denied once again, as up on the top half of the map, we are going to see Douglas taking these Void Grubs. Pretty nice pickup, to say the least, for his team. You're going to be able to, if you get 5, have these doubling Void Grubs hitting the thing. Douglas is going to show up. Oh, not Douglas. Isma's going to show up and see the last grub get smited down. And there you go. Big win if you are Vitality in early game objective control. And we finally got A Void Grub counter! I'm happy. I can actually see how many Void Grubs each team has. That's a nice added feature that the LEC has done, even if they did have X amount of staff laid off. So they must have done that as the staff was getting laid off. That's pretty knocking foot. But yeah, I don't know if we get any replays in this game. I don't know how they'll manage to do that with a one-person team, but that's neither here nor there, and we're not going to get into Riot layoffs in this stream. I don't think we feel need, because we're here to talk about League of Legends, and Vito could have been caught out there if he continued to walk into lane. Anyway, bot side, Easter and Douglas just trying to secure vision as Twisted Advance comes through from this Maokai. He has got hit for himself Phase Rush, so he is able to just pop a couple of abilities to get the movement speed to allow him to run away. And while all that was going on, it did allow for the Lucian to push the wave up, clear out that control ward, and get for his support a well-needed back. As we go to topside for the first time in this game, an all-out trade could be coming through as Dominus is going to be procced. World Ender not online just yet for Photon. He isn't feeling the need to pop that for himself. And that, my friend, is a worthwhile trade if you're Vitality. Not wasting your ultimate, getting the ulti out, as well as now a big flash also burnt from the Vitality jungler is a different story, to say the least. We're seeing flashes being burnt. Corki's flash came back up after the trade with Niski. But yeah, this is something we've seen all game. Isma just crashing and killing this top half jungle for himself. He certainly laid claim to it, and Hylissang and Vito have had to roam up to kind of protect it as the smite comes through. I do believe Isma secured that for himself, but here are the four members of Vitality hunting, killing Niski. That's first blood going over to Photon's Aatrox. That is a massive pickup, to say the least, for this top laner, because he is winning out in this matchup already against Irrelevant, who as a whole hasn't been able to do too much behind in CS. Lost out on the latest trade with Photon before he got the kill. Plus TP is an advantage, I do believe, to Vitality. Photon's in it sitting quite comfortable. Anyway, here it's just a 4-on-2 collapse, and while they almost kill off the Vi, Douglas able to survive and get back to safety. They played on the brink there, on the edge, did Vitality, but they knew their limits, got themselves first blood, and now that support Lucian. Double support items coming into fruition, still in the bot lane. I don't like it. Double support. The word support needs to be addressed, because this is going to be a full damage build Lucian. But because of the gold share being so good out from that item, these ADCs are picking it up and certainly killing the vibe of that, of supports basically. Anyway, more Void Grubs falling on the top half of the rift as SK set up for themselves the first Drake of the game. It is a Cloud Drake, so it does take less priority, but 10 minutes for the first Drake does mean we'll probably be seeing what I like to call a very, it's another 15 minutes before Soul as bot side. Very aggressive trade coming out. Ignite used by X Kick, trying to burn through Hilly and Kazi's health bar. But yeah, it could be a very early Drake Soul. 15 minutes, 25-minute Drake Soul is pretty nice, to say the least. But you have given over 6 Void Grub to Vitality, and we already started to hark on it a little bit earlier. Photon sitting quite nicely in this early game. Going to be quite hard to deal with, to say the least, as this game will go on. And it's already looking like he's going to get another kill for himself as Irrelevant forced the flash. Tower heading onto Foden. World Ender was popped in return, but the World Ender just gets the healing back that Photon lost to this tower. Dominus has wore off, but that is a max fury bar Irrelevant. He's going to try to cool the meek of the wave. Slice and dice through, gets all the minions, but he is locking Douglas under tower. He gets himself to outplay. A massive kill for SK in the top lane. And we were already saying in the prediction video that Irrelevant is a phenomenal player and certainly all-pro top this split. He is certainly stepping up here and showcasing why his bot side, the culling, thrown out the cozy campfire though, used in response to the Moonlight Vigil is going to come through. Exit kick taken low. The tidal wave not going to tag onto Hylissang, and instead it's a flashing forward Kazi, hunting, looking for the kills, but the Nature's Grasp locks him down. Isma is returning, but Death forced to retreat. The three members of SK being isolated, forced to run. A flash out from this Nami keeps her alive, and somehow, some way, no one is dying. Nearly, if Kazi had fired a blue bullet, that could have killed two. But all of SK survive and get to retreat to stay alive another day. Honestly, that was a lot of investment, and the big winner out of this play is Irrelevant. He didn't have TP at the time, so he stayed top, scored for himself a couple of plates. This is a big turnaround in that gold that we already were talking about. Irrelevant, he got himself a solo kill onto Douglas, who misplayed the dive, let's be honest. And what's his return? Oh, that forced Photon TPing down to the bot lane. So, free pressure topside for SK. Gimme. Irrelevant realistically will be trying to play side lanes all game. Because while SK have a decent teamfighting and chase down comp, into a Corki, into a Aphelios, you can't really deal with that poke and harass from range. And I think the sustain is a massive thing that Italy have. But topside, once again, the dive coming through, the package utilized. But Photon, he's tanking so much damage from this tower. Nature's Grasp, going to be used bot side. And it's just a great use of the Trolleys by Hilly. But he is caught, isolated, and slaughtered by Exakick. As he gets a massive execution onto the support. That's going to mean full lane priority to SK. One failed dive in the top side into an actually well executed play by SK. They're certainly controlling this game very nicely. And this is kind of what you need to do. Vitality have drafted some very heavy scaling champions as red white guns for this Aphelios, who has stepped back up over towards his tower, does retreat back, obviously expecting the possible continuous play from SK, and this is that tower would fall. But instead, gonna just go back to base are the SK players, who as a whole have done quite well in this bot side, getting a full tower. I'm pretty sure it didn't have any plates, or the plates fell off as the tower fell, but they did a lot there. And I didn't actually see who got what plates in this game. But SK, doing quite well. Already got for themselves a 3k gold lead due to the fact that Irrelevant just surviving these failed attempts at his getting his life, as well as the fact that Isma has kind of protected his bot lane to get them to a strong position. Because let's be honest, they went for that play as they only had one item. Once they hit their first item, I should say. Imperial Mandate plus Storm Razors equals a hell of a lot of burst and crit damage onto a single target who isn't, let's be honest, expecting this damage to be that high this early into the game, considering they're nowhere near full first item. Or, no, they were. They had Shirelles. But first item for Kazi has only just come through is the big thing to note. He is somehow keeping up in CS, and yet that support item diff kind of has allowed for X-Kick to get himself a bigger advantage in terms of itemization. Now, that's a nice trade out from SK here. They give over first Drake to Vitality, or Vitality's first Drake. In return, they get themselves the mid lane tier 1. They're hunting for a kill onto Douglas, but they're not going to find it. Instead, they get tower, try to hunt for kills, and they're realistically probably not going to get much more as a culling used, traded for a cozy campfire. Vitality, they're happy, I would say, with how this game's going. Sure, you've lost yourselves 2 towers, and what are you going to gain? Well, you know for the fact that you're going to outscale SK, so you're just trying to weather this storm. Get it to this point in the game where it's just a farm lane. I'd say the only place you're realistically speaking looking to fight is topside, but that's all tops do is go for these pretty just stupid singular fights as you're just whacking on each other all game. Now, Vitality, they're in a situation where you're going for your loot, I believe, or whatever the M item's called, the vengeance, something like that. I forget its name. On your Corki, with that lost chapter picked up, you're also kind of just trying to get the poke set up. And here's the big thing, or the big issue with Vitality's draft. The goal is to set up early with the Corki and the Aphelios, so that you can control areas of the map. As, speaking of which, Harold gets dropped on one side, the top side of the map, looking to drift it into this tower and get themselves the 3rd tower of the game. Already, SK beginning their siege, but getting back to the point, realistically, Vitality want to set up in areas first, and they can't be slow to the play as, Photon sitting on a ward. He's looking for the fight though as Douglas gets deleted to tidal wave and Nature's Graphs find their mark as SK are gonna get themselves a triple kill here. That's so much blood in a very telegraphed play considering the fact that Photon stood on a control ward. Like, what? Douglas went way too deep there in an isolated manner, and you look at the area control that SK have. We already spoke about Nature's Grasp and Renata having such massive area denial from teams, but Nami fits into the same boat. She has the ability to control areas. As we watch this again, Photon walks into the ward. He's showing whether or not he knows it, he spots the ward there by putting the Z on it. But Douglas sees and desists himself straight into Niski's burst and gets deleted. Then it's just a tidal wave in Nature's Grasp, keeping the rest of Vitality away from Douglas, so he's unable to be bailed out, protected, and then it's just isolated picking off members by SK to get themselves a triple kill in that fight. And with that, second items coming online for SK. As Ludent's picked up for Ori, you've got yourself your rapid fire for Lucian, as well as a nice redemption for Nami. We are starting to see Isma building up his Sunfire Cape with the Balmy Cinder in his back pocket. Just sold a ward or placed it down. Never mind, he's out on the rift, so he placed that down. And yeah, I'm going to be honest. SK in a very good position. They've got control of the map. The doubles ward's doing great work as Isma, he may have gone too far to cease and desist come through, but the passive healing this Maokai gets just baits in Douglas to getting executed off. No jungler for Vitality should spell doom and gloom, as this Baron could become the target for SK, but they're hunting, still looking for more kills as Photon gets chunked out a little bit. This is certainly more work doing. Niski obviously whiffed his shockwave earlier, so he doesn't have that to kind of do work, but never mind. His damage without it is so goddamn good as Photon forced to pop the World Ender, and that is a waste, my friend, because the game is just being lost. SK continuing to push as a Gravitum, though, in the bot side. Irrelevant, taken low, could be isolated off. Dominance going to be used, and instead it's going to be a massive shutdown. Kazi gets himself some gold, some well-needed gold, as he is falling further and further behind his mid lane. Graviton going to come through, and that's the package user as well, but Vito just deleted as soon as he goes forward. Sure, SK's health bars are low, but that was not a worthwhile trade, even if it is going to net themselves the second Drake of the game. SK fine with that, to be honest. Nowhere near Soul, considering it will take another 10 minutes before Soul is realistically a threat to either of these two teams. And I think the big thing to note is, or the interesting thing to note is, Vitality got themselves 6 Void Grub in this early game. And so you kind of are thinking, well, surely we want to be sieging. But they've not been able to get that opportunity. Instead, they've been denied any form of, like, control around the map, as SK have just stepped up in lanes. And it's due to this aggression that they have got. We saw it in the early game where Niski went aggressive, got the sums out from Vito, and it meant that this Corki couldn't step forward and apply the pressure that Corkis would normally have. Similar sort of story in the bot lane. Lucian Nami just constantly trading into the Aphelios and Milio. They weren't really able to match the aggression. And as such, Vitality kind of had to cede a lot of the pressure. And the fact is, right now, SK have double warding totems. So they're able to just secure so much vision control for themselves. And that's not including the saplings that are already being thrown out. It's not including the double blue trinkets that are on the carries of SK. Right now, I would say Vitality are probably going to have to play scarce or play heavy vision controlling games that aren't necessarily into their wheelhouse. Because, let's be honest, Vitality, known for being aggressive early, kind of been subdued. Douglas has tried to go in, but he's been unable to do anything really because his team's just been pushed away. And that Baron damage, oh boy, it's starting to melt. As SK execute DOS hiding in the shadows, the fog of war. Vitality, unknowing of the disaster of them stepping forward, is irrelevant. Shows himself, so does Exekick. Vitality being just zoned away from this Baron pit. They're going to be spotted going on this wraparound, but there's the Nature's Grasp. There's the Tidal Wave. There's the Smite Secure. Baron cleanly taken by SK. And Vitality just were forced to stand and watch. Didn't secure really any pressure onto the map other than bot side. They've got a pushing wave. Top side is finally going to be pushed out, but it's a bit too late if you think about it. Vitality, you're bleeding out, my friends. Sure, you scale, but SK, they've got their foot on the gas pedal and they're not letting up. This Baron, sponsored by Red Bull, will probably look to crush into the base. They're going to be looking for these outer, well, the inhibitor towers, because that's the only things that's left open on the map for them to take with the buff. There is one outer turret in the bot lane, though. That maybe be where we see Vitality fight. They've got themselves an alcove ward, so the possibilities of TP flank is there. Double TP on the ready for Vitality. And I think the name of the play, or the aim of the play, is to wait for the Maokai and the Nami to use their ultis to kind of siege. Because the good thing here is, Corki has semi-decent wave clear against these Baron minions, but the rest of the team kind of don't. I guess the Aphelios could if he drops a white turret, but they're gonna instead be forced to give up this tier 2 bot. And now 4 members sit in this bot side. We're kind of just waiting for the ultis, the abilities to be used by SK. And that, if they get the right abilities, that will probably be where Vitality pulled the trigger. That finally, the Nature's Grass is used, but Milio ult is traded to negate the root. Where is the TP gonna go? It's not gonna go anywhere as a cease and desist catches out Irrelevant, but he's just standing there and trading. Douglas taken incredibly low, but look at the burning Vito! Gets denied his life as Exekick flashed over the wall. No, it was DOS that gets over the wall, but Photon, he sees the kills, but he could have overstepped. Never mind, it's SK who's overstepped as Irrelevant. Kind of forced to trade his life here to get his carries out. It's going to be only the Maokai and the Lucian surviving a onslaught, a bloodbath in the mid lane. We certainly need a replay for that one. Never mind. We're not getting a replay. We're getting live as Vitality go towards this Baron. This Drake. And that's something. The Baron. 2 Barons left. 10 seconds on it. Only a 1.4k. Gold gainage for SK. So that's kind of sad to see. All things considered, as health bars got depleted on their side of the rift as Vitality punished heavily. And I hope we get a replay here. I would love to see that fight, because that was absolutely insane by Vitality, because I'm intrigued how they managed to catch out Niski, because he should have realistically have survived. He's playing this. He has his summoners as well. We shall have to see what happened there. But judging by the fact we're in a lull state, we're not getting a replay. Let's go back and actually break it down ourselves. This replay is brought to you by izlo33, because the LEC fired their replay team. That's unfortunate to say, but it's true. So, SK, a sieging bot. Irrelevant oversteps. He goes way too far forward, thinking none of Vitality are in the mid lane. I can step forward and just be me. I can be there. Even though it's a bad position because you're isolated, you and shouldn't realistically be stepping that far forward, considering you have Baron buff, you're having 2 waves crash into the tower. I think this is an overall bad position for Irrelevant to have been caught out in. So he gets jumped on, and while the redemption healing keeps him alive quite well, and he gets a flash out from Douglas, you just look at Exekick's health bar, chipped out by the tower, and as soon as Vito steps forward, he gets deleted. So he was kind of baiting him with his health bar. And yeah, ticking down is Vito. But watch what happens. DOS over the wall. He knows that the ignite from Exekick is burning through Corki's health bar. A nice ebb and flow just secures the kill for Exekick, even though it would have been technically a DOS kill. It looked more like a DOS kill than anything. But now, Vitality's side of the rift, you've got Vi, who's incredibly low, can't really fight. You down your main poke and harass and wave clear. SK think they can step up and siege. But here's the thing. You got 3 members chasing Kazi, while Photon is just bursting through the health bar of the bot lane in a 1v2. There's no one protecting Exekick, who just gets flashed on by Photon as DOS dies. Kazi gets a massive trade on his own outright. He just bursts Niski. And you're in a situation where Isma not really able to do anything to protect his carries. Irrelevant, he sacks himself for the greater good to keep Exekick alive. And yeah, as it stands, that could have been a bit of a throw from SK, as Soul is technically now a threat. 4 minutes on that clock. While Baron up in 2, we will not see, I don't think, an overlap on them buffs. If we do, SK are clearly playing this game wrong. But they have just allowed a little bit of a slip up to deny them a bit more of their siege. And that is certainly being felt right now. There's Vitality getting to farm back up. We already saw a bit of the damage that VTO can do, even if he does step a bit too far forward to get said damage. But it is not the nicest of things, as he has got his second item in the back pocket. 2 items, apart from in Douglas's back pocket, on the board for Vitality. Whereas 3 items complete on SK's side. You've got your Stormrazor, you've got your LDR, and the Rapid Fire Cannon. On the 3-0 and 2 Lucian, the big threat for SK. I'm waiting to see the Cullen just be thrown out and a lot of damage coming out from that, because as it stands, SK gonna have constant wave pressure all throughout this game. Top lane pushing in favor, mid lane always going to be pushed because there's always going to be members clearing out the wave for SK as soon as it gets too far forward, as well as bot side there's always a wave pressure. Now SK are playing this bait game where they're trying to force Vitality into this top side of the map, into this jungle, but they're not falling to the bait. Saplings being thrown out so they know that someone is around for SK. But with 20 seconds until this Baron, the fact Vitality can't step up, these saplings are just being an absolute nuisance. It means that this Baron could quite honestly be burnt down without any contest. 5 seconds now until that objective is on the board, and already you see Isma, you see Niski starting this one up for themselves. And with DOS Exokick showing in mid, Vitality are unawares to the objective being started. They are going to back away, however, our SK. As Culling just going to be thrown out. Hylissang's health bar going to do so much damage there. Is Exokick. And I'm amazed the Cozy Campfire not used there. Unless it was on cooldown, it certainly would have been useful there to keep the health bars topped up, as a shockwave catches VTO, taken incredibly low. Force to burn the package. I do believe it was the package anyway. It may have just been the Valkyrie, as the redemption used there by DOS to deny the back. That's going to deny any chance of a steal from Vitality, as no poke, no mid, no chance for the steal. Now with 50 seconds until Ocean Soul, there will be a overlap of the Baron buff and the Ocean Drake spawning. Vitality are finally clearing out a bit of vision, trying to set this one up for themselves. Ocean Soul, a phenomenally good buff to get for themselves, as we already see hanging around in base is VTO. This time he does have the package, and he's going to have it for this Drake fight, as going forward is going to be the Maokai. Nature's Grass thrown out, as there's no more Milio ult to negate it, and that is just a dead Douglas. SK find the jungler, and they've certainly found a fight, as that shockwave is huge. The package forced out there from VTO. He is forced incredibly low as well. SK looking, hunting, on a rampage goes Exokick as the chase wall comes through. They're going to be looking to kill off Kazi. They get the damage down. That's a double kill over to Exokick, who could have stepped a bit too far forward. Going aggressive, hunting for the triple. He gets it for themselves, and now Photon becomes the last victim of this SK onslaught as they look to end the game through the middle of the base. Honestly, when you see the Milio ult used, you know these rooting abilities are going to come through. That was clean from SK, and you've got to give props to Isma there for setting that play up. The fact that he saw Douglas with their vision, he goes forward, flashing forward, locking down the jungler. The cleanse comes through. Night goes Douglas. No more jungler, no engage for Vitality, no turnaround. Simple as that. So you think, oh well, just because our engage is gone, we can poke away. That's just doom, as essentially SK will just continue to chase you down, like what we saw. This game got well out of hand, and Vitality couldn't really deal with it. As God, I love them joggers. I might get myself a pair. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. My PC can actually go off. I'm going to probably go work on my laptop. I will see you guys for the predictions. I enjoyed that one. Don't know about you, but it was pretty chill, and yeah. Thank you very much for joining me today. I literally just got home as soon as I started to stream, by the way, so there's that. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you guys on whenever, actually. It may not be next week for predictions. I'm unsure. Simple as that, because we will be entering the playoffs/Swiss